The Song dynasty, which ruled China from 960 to 1279 CE, represents a period of remarkable transformation in Chinese political, economic, and cultural life. Among its many achievements, the Song era is particularly notable for its innovations in legal administration and jurisprudence. While the foundational framework of law had been established in earlier dynasties, most notably under the Tang with its codified legal system, the Song dynasty refined, expanded, and humanized these legal codes in ways that would influence Chinese law for centuries. These innovations were driven by the dynasty's unique political, social, and economic circumstances, including rapid urbanization, commercial expansion, and the rise of a more literate and bureaucratically sophisticated population. Mesh 1. Legal codification and standardization. Building on the Tang Code, Tenglu, the Song dynasty implemented a comprehensive and systematic approach to codifying laws. The Song legal code retained the general structure of previous codes, dividing crimes into categories such as offenses against the state, property crimes, and offenses against persons, but it emphasized clarity, specificity, and practical applicability. One of the most important innovations was the Song Code of 1189, which refined punishments and procedural rules, reflecting both Confucian moral principles and practical considerations for governance. Unlike the Tang Code, which leaned heavily on rigid punishment, the Song Code incorporated more discretionary measures, allowing magistrates to tailor punishments based on circumstances, social status, and intent. This codification was part of a broader bureaucratic effort to standardize legal practice across the empire. Song magistrates were trained not only in Confucian classics but also in legal texts, ensuring a literate administration capable of interpreting laws consistently. The central government issued commentaries and case precedents to guide lower-level officials, a system that anticipated the later Ming and Qing dynasty code commentary methods. 2. Integration of Confucian morality and legal practice. A hallmark of Song legal innovation was the integration of Confucian moral principles with formal legal procedures. While earlier legal systems often emphasized strict punitive measures, Song jurists argued for a balanced approach that combined moral instruction with legal enforcement. Laws were designed not merely to punish wrongdoing, but to maintain social harmony and encourage virtuous behavior. For example, the Song legal system stressed family and community responsibility. Offenses such as theft or assault could be mitigated if the offender demonstrated repentance, or if the family intervened in the judicial process. Similarly, magistrates were encouraged to employ mediation and reconciliation, especially in civil disputes, reflecting a Confucian preference for harmony over strict legalism. This moral legal synthesis distinguished Song law from both the harsh legalist practices of the Qin and the more procedural Tang system. 3. Judicial procedures and the role of magistrates. The Song dynasty significantly professionalized the role of local magistrates. As the empire grew more complex, magistrates became the primary agents of both judicial and administrative control. They handled everything from criminal trials and civil disputes to tax collection and local policing. This centralization of authority demanded innovations in procedure. Written case records. Magistrates were required to maintain detailed written records of trials, including statements from the accused and witnesses. This allowed for greater accountability, consistency, and review by higher authorities. Evidence and confession. The Song legal system placed a strong emphasis on evidence and confession. Torture, while still legally permitted, was regulated and limited to certain cases, reflecting a more restrained approach to extracting truth than in earlier dynasties. Appeals and supervision. The central government monitored magistrates through periodic inspections and allowed appeals to higher courts, ensuring that local judgments adhered to the legal code. These procedural refinements professionalized judicial practice, reduced arbitrary punishment, and created a more predictable legal environment for citizens. 4. Commercial law and economic regulation. The Song dynasty witnessed unprecedented commercial expansion, including the growth of urban markets, trade guilds, and early forms of banking. Legal innovations reflected this economic complexity. Contracts and debt law, Song jurists developed detailed regulations for contracts, loans, and credit arrangements. Written contracts were legally recognized, and debt disputes could be adjudicated with reference to these documents, signaling an early form of commercial law. Merchant regulations. Local magistrates oversaw market operations, ensuring fair trade practices, proper weights and measures, and protection of intellectual property, such as printing rights for books. Maritime and trade law. With increased overseas trade, Song authorities codified rules for shipping, insurance, and port duties, reflecting the dynasty's engagement with foreign merchants and international commerce. These legal innovations facilitated economic growth by reducing transaction costs and increasing trust in commercial relationships. Hack 5. Legal humanization and punishment reform. A significant innovation of the Song period was the humanization of criminal law. Punishments became more graded and proportional, moving away from the extreme corporal penalties common in earlier dynasties. For instance, certain offenses could result in fines, exile, or labor service rather than execution. Repeat offenders faced escalating but rationally structured penalties, reducing arbitrary severity. Magistrates could consider mitigating factors such as age, mental state, and social contribution. This approach reflected both practical governance concerns and Confucian ethical ideals, aiming to reform offenders rather than merely punish them. 6. Legal scholarship and case commentary. The Song era also saw a flowering of legal scholarship. Scholars compiled casebooks, gong'an, that illustrated how laws should be applied in practice, providing models for magistrates. These casebooks preserved judicial reasoning, offered moral commentary, and allowed for debate over interpretation. By systematizing precedents, Song jurists laid the groundwork for a more sophisticated legal culture, bridging theory and practice. Furthermore, printing technology, already flourishing under the Song, enabled wider dissemination of legal texts. This innovation democratized access to the law for scholars and officials and contributed to a literate legal culture unprecedented in previous dynasties. 7. Interaction with social change. The Song dynasty's legal innovations were both a response to and a driver of social change. Rapid urbanization, commercial growth, and the expansion of the civil bureaucracy required more flexible, standardized, and professional legal systems. At the same time, the integration of Confucian moral norms into law helped maintain social cohesion amid increasing social complexity. By balancing moral education with legal enforcement, the Song dynasty created a model of governance that emphasized both order and justice, influencing later dynasties in the trajectory of Chinese legal history. Conclusion. The Song dynasty represents a transformative period in Chinese legal history, marked by codification, procedural sophistication, and moral integration. Its innovations reflected the demands of a rapidly changing society, combining rigorous administration with Confucian ethical principles. Key developments included the standardization of law, professionalization of magistrates, commercial regulation, humanized punishment, and the emergence of legal scholarship. Collectively, these reforms established a legal culture that was both practical and morally oriented, setting a benchmark for subsequent dynasties and leaving a lasting imprint on Chinese jurisprudence. By emphasizing fairness, proportionality, and moral guidance, the Song legal system anticipated later developments in both civil and commercial law, illustrating the dynasty's role as a bridge between early legalist Tang frameworks and the fully developed Qing legal tradition. Its innovations underscore the dynamic interplay between law, society, and governance in imperial China, demonstrating that legal reform was not merely an administrative necessity, but a central element of social and moral order. References 1. Ebri, P.B. 2009, The Cambridge Illustrated History of China, 2nd ed., Cambridge University Press. 2. Shu, C.Y., 1999, The Qin and Han Empires, Legal and Administrative Systems, Stanford University Press. 3. Johnson, D. 2011, Song Dynasty Government and Law, Harvard East Asian Monographs. 4. McKnight, B. 2017, Law, Morality, and Society in Song China, University of Washington Press. 5. Twitchett, D. and Frank H. 1994, The Cambridge History of China, Volume 5, The Sung Dynasty and Its Precursors, 907 to 1279, Cambridge University Press. 6. Wu, C. 2005, Legal Reform in the Song Dynasty, Journal of Chinese Historical Studies, 38 to 45 to 72.